Hello, let us discuss about milk hygiene practices in India and other countries. As we know, India is the largest producer of milk, and we do have certain production practices. In what way India's milk production practices are different from other countries? What kind of standards India follows while rest of the world, what kind of standards they follow? It is just to compare. So that's what is today's class is milk hygiene practices in India and other countries. When we talk about the Indian production is largely it is a mass production from the masses. We categorize the production systems as either production from masses or the mass production. Mass production means individual units producing a huge or large volumes of milk. They are known as the mass production units. While production from masses means here in the sense, mass means many animals. Many animals giving 1 liter, 2 liter, 3 liter, 10 liter milk together forms a bulk of milk that accounts to the tune of 180 million metric tons. That makes India great. So India is the largest producer of milk in the world. When it comes to the quality and safety, Indian milk is not a lauded product. Indian milk is a rejected product. Indian milk is rejected in the sense that it is having the trade objectionable hazards in the product. What are these? These are either microbial contaminants or non-microbial contaminants. Microbial contaminants are easy to manage and address using the clean milk production practices. But non-microbial contaminants, pollutants, toxicants, they all have very complex cycles operating in the dairy production system. They enter the milk supply chain, making the product to be rejected at the international market. Because when we talk about the demand of the milk, as we know that milk is a complete food and there has been an ever increasing demand for the milk and milk products in the world. There are certain locations on the planet Earth which are not conducive for the animal husbandry, milch animal. That is why there is a demand when we talk about country as this world as a whole and certain requiring countries, importing countries, and when we talk about certain exporting countries. India has a huge export potential in the dairy industry when we talk about dairy products. But because of these microbial and non-microbial contaminants, mostly non-microbial contaminants, our product won't fetch good value in the market. I am talking about the international market because the contaminants, pollutants, toxicants, and microorganisms and the transboundary diseases, they act as potential barriers to the trade and they are regulated under the SPS measures of World Trade Organization. Any importing country will reject it on the basis that it contains hazardous materials, substances. India's dairy sector is by and large is unorganized. The sector is not organized in the sense that we have a huge amount of milk that is produced, but it is produced from the small players in the sector. However, the share of unorganized is decreasing and share of organized is increasing and it is expected to rise in future to come. There is a boom for requirement for the processed foods rather than the raw milk entity. And the growth in this processed foods is 8 to 15% annual growth rate, which is a good driver of this dairy industry. That's why we can say that there is a better future for dairy industry than what is there today. Various kinds of milk products are manufactured. It's not the milk, raw milk alone. Ghee, cheese, the ice cream, the milk powder, the malted products, the condensed products, the infant formulas, all of them, they are all having their own value when we talk about the marketing of the milk products. Of all these fluid milks, ultra high heat treated milk, UST milk, is showing the promise with respect to its growth because it is becoming more and more popular. Because this product can be kept at room temperature for up to 6 months, won't require any refrigeration, and milk can be made available even at distant places, remote places. That's why this product is becoming popular. And there is technology today to produce such product easily in the dairy plants, the dairy milk processing plants. You can see to the right hand side the share of organized and unorganized sector. Majority of the Indian dairy is unorganized, 80%. It is informal sector. The milk is produced in the villages and invariably that is consumed locally, or some half of that is sold as an excess surplus and that enters the documented formal chain. So 20% of the sector is under organized sector, and this can be further divided into either government firms or the private firms or the cooperative type of firms. One more interesting thing to note here is large numbers of, many numbers of the multinational companies which are into other foods and beverage business or some other business, they are taking keen interest into the dairy. That's why dairy has gone global. Okay, but if at all the product has to move at the global market, it is the milk supply chain that should be kept away from the contaminants, pollutants, toxicants, and the microorganisms. Otherwise, they will act as a potential barriers to trade. Let us see the lower half of the plot that shows the milk consumption. 50% of the milk that is produced by farmers is consumed locally or by their families or the neighboring families. Some 46% is sold as an excess milk. In this sector, if you divide the excess milk sector that comes to market channels, about majority of that is under still development that need to be taken into a proper shape so that in days to come the safe and quality milk is produced and it is processed and it is distributed to the public. Some of the important private dairies that are the international players are Nestle, Danone, Hudson, Schreiber Foods. It is having the collaboration with the Dynamics Dairies, Coke, Pepsi. These are all the international brands that are into the dairy business. At the national level, the important drivers of the dairy industry are the national level private dairy industry. The brands are Parag, RA Food, Britannia, Dynamics, Mother, Vidya, Vadilal, Govardhan, and Mahan. These are some of the important international and national brands when we talk about the private dairy in India. Some are already having well-established network, some are establishing the network to capture a larger share of the market. Barring these private dairies, left are the cooperative dairies and government dairies. We have government dairies such as Mahananda, Varna, and Daily Milk Scheme. These are all the schemes owned by the governments, and these are the brands that are there in the market. And the most important sector is the cooperative dairy. You know the story of Anand Milk Union. Likewise, we have got in Punjab the Varka, in Karnataka we have got Nandini, and Vijaya and Saras in South India. So these are all the brands that are there in the market. So large number of markets. All these put together, they are in the 20%. Okay, remaining all 80% are unorganized and there is a lot of scope for the improvement of the dairy sector. And until unless we compare vis-a-vis, okay, side by side, Indian dairy industry with the established countries, it's very difficult to achieve the quality and the safety so that our Indian milk is sold at the international markets. Let us see the population of India. The recent 2019 livestock census. Total livestock number in India 535.78 million heads. If you see the cattle population, so cattle population you can see, so more or less over the last 3 census, it has every 5 years there is animal census. So it is more or less same, it is around 192.49 million heads of the cattle. Buffaloes 109.85 million heads. Sheep 74.26 millions, and the goats 148.88 millions. These many numbers of milch animals. In addition to this, there are some miscellaneous animals such as camel, ape, and other miscellaneous animals that also they constitute. When we mix all these together, the species milk, we get something to the tune of 180 million metric tons. That is the production potential of India. Some of the states are excelling in the milk production, while other states are lagging in the milk production. Some states are keeping the pace of their trend in the milk production, and some states are losing that. So it is a dynamic process. So there are many factors that drive this process, leading to the net production of the milk in India. Product wise, if you see at the lower pie chart, majority of the milk is sold as a fluid milk. Year to year, there is bit minor variation in this sector, but by and large, the trend remains the same. The major product that is sold in the market is the milk, liquid milk, fluid milk, or the raw milk. Part of that is converted into ghee, the milk powder, the ice cream, likewise other miscellaneous products that have been given here. So there is a need in India to increase these products, okay, because their shelf life is good, their marketability is good. So there is a lot of potential, especially in the developing India, compared to just selling of the liquid milk. So processing has got a lot of scope, so that the 75% that is still there as a fluid milk can be reduced, and this sector, that is the milk product sector, can be improvised. Different kinds of milks are sold in the market. We call them as species milk: cattle milk, buffalo milk, sheep milk, goat milk. Now the donkey milk is also becoming popular, yak milk, like that. Raw milk is a milk that has not undergone to any kind of heat treatment. Pasteurized milk is a milk which is subjected to a time temperature combination specified by the law. In India, 63 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes or 72 degrees centigrade for 15 seconds. That's what we follow. And the immediate requirement of the pasteurization is the cooling of the milk less than 10 degrees centigrade, or refrigeration temperature. Okay. Sterilized milk, the milk that has brought to a temperature of 115 degrees centigrade for 15 minutes or 145 degrees centigrade for 3 seconds, or any equivalent time temperature combinations that are permitted. Okay, such a sterilized milk can be stored at room temperature for 15 days. Still higher to this heating is the ultra high heat treated milk, popularly known as the UHT milk. This milk is heated to 135 to 150 degrees centigrade for very short few seconds, okay, 2 to 3 seconds, followed by aseptic packaging. This is known to kill all forms of the life, so it keeps long, more than 6 months, the shelf life of this UHT milk, which is becoming popular these days. Boiled milk is a milk which has been boiled or brought to the temperature of the boil. Mixed milk means different species milk are mixed together. Combined milk means the milk that is condensed, okay, for some purpose has now been mixed with the fat, SNF, and the water. This combination process is a combined milk. Recombined milk is the milk obtained from uniform homogeneous mixing of the milk fat and SNF in the water. That's what is the recombined milk is. The term re is again. Flavored milk, the milk which has been added with the permitted food grade flavors. There are different kinds of flavors. Dozens of flavors are available in the market. Standardized milk is the milk whose fat and SNF has been adjusted mechanically in the fat. Okay, when we talk about the milk collection, when different cows, different buffaloes, when they yield the milk, they will be in the different physiological status to produce the milk. The kind of SNF or the fat that is there in the milk is all different. But in the market, we need to deliver a constant content milk in the form of tone milk or double tone milk. There we have to go for the standardization process. If it is excess the fat, you remove the fat. If it is lower the fat, you add the fat. Such a milk is said to be standardized milk. There are various varieties of this standardized milk. Reconstituted milk. Reconstituted milk is a milk that is obtained by dissolving a dried milk powder in the water. Why it is done? Many times what happens, there won't be market for the milk. That's why these milk processing units, what they do, they will convert all milk into milk powder and store it in the dehydrated form. Whenever there is a favorable situation wherein there is collection, procurement is low and market demand is more, they will take out these packets, mix with the water and mix it with the milk and sell it as a reconstituted milk. Okay, there may or may not be a labeling, but invariably that milk is a scarcity type of milk. Toned milk, a milk whose composition with respect to fat and SNF has been fixed to 3% or 8.5%. That's the toned milk. Double toned milk, the fat percent is reduced by one more times, that is 1.5% fat or 9.5% SNF is a double toned milk. Nandini sells these products as a different colored coats. See the packets, the red color or blue color, you can differentiate toned and double toned milk. Skim milk. Skim milk is the milk from which almost all fat is mechanically removed. Say, for example, less than 0.5% fat, which is having about 8.7% of SNF. Homogenized milk, the milk which has been subjected to a mechanical homogenization process so that fat won't tend to float on the surface after leaving the milk for some time. And for different species of the milk, we have national specifications. For cattle milk, buffalo milk, and other species milk, likewise the tone, double tone, skim milk, we have specifications. Skim milk is popular where especially the people who are health consciousness or are advised not to take the fat, they will consume such skim milk. So these are all the gradations in India. Let us come to the next discussion. How the different countries, they make a payment to the farmers. Okay, what is the yardstick? We'll study one by one. So majority of the countries, a bunch of countries have been given over here, including India. The payment based on the fat content of the milk. Higher is the fat, they have a chart. Okay, based on that pro rata, they will transform the fat content into a price. Okay, so payment based on the fat content of the milk factor. So multiplication factor. So they will have this payment system. None of the countries they will pay based on lactose content or other milk solid content. The fat and SNF are the major ingredients that are present in the milk that are used to make the payments to the farmers. Others, if you see, okay, others if you see here, Payment based on the somatic cell count. Okay. Rather than making payment in countries such as America, they have warning systems. If at all there is a little deviation or little increase in the somatic cell count of the milk, the supplier is warned. If it is still more, they are uh, fined. That's what is the penalty measures. Okay. United Kingdom, you see high production volume bonus. If someone is producing better quality milk with lower somatic cell count, the incentive is given in the form of a bonus. And how these payments are made based on the kilogram of the milk solids or liters of milk or 100 weight of milk or liters of milk with premium on concentration. So like this, there are various payment systems that are all used while the milk is purchased from the farms, yardsticks, or payment systems to acquire the milk from the farmers. In India, the milk payment payment is by and large is based on the fat content payment. While SNF is also taken into account because fat and SNF are related entities, that is, SNF content is considered for whether to accept the milk or not. If the SNF is low, milk is rejected. But payment is made based on the fat content of the milk. Various enforcing agencies, okay, they look for compliance in the milk and milk products with respect to various quality and safety indicators. In India, we have got Food Safety and Standards Authority, and we have Food Safety and Standards Act 2006. They govern what should be the criteria that a given milk sample should meet in order to be marketed in the Republic of India. So we'll discuss about India first, and then we'll go into the discussions related to the other countries, so that you can, in your mind, compare the differences between the quality and safety indicators in India and abroad. There are 11 parameters in India: pasteurized commodities such as milk, cream, or flavored milk; sterilized commodities such as UST milk; sweetened condensed milk; pasteurized butter; dried milk products such as milk powder, cream, whey, edible casein, or ice cream mix. The ice, these are all the cold items: ice cream, frozen dessert, milk lolly, and milk candy. Seventh, processed cheese or cheese spread, and other than processed cheese and cheese spread, rest all types of cheeses in the eighth. Yogurt, dahi, chakka, srikhand, fermented products. Paneer or chana, coagulated products. Koya is a heat coagulated product. So like this, India has categorized all milk products into 11 categories. And when you talk about any other product in India, can be fitted into one of these categories. Okay, can be fitted into one of these 11 categories. Okay, either pasteurized or sterilized or fermented or coagulated or precipitated. So like this, frozen. So like this, we can categorize any product. We can fit them into any one of these 11 categories. What amount of sample to be collected? Now we are discussing about the total plate count, aerobic plate count, or standard plate count. India follows ICMSF specifications. Okay, there is one ICMSF, non-governmental, not-for-profit organization, just like ISO. It is made up of the experts in the area of food safety, food hygiene, and microbiological aspects associated with the food. They have specified certain sampling systems. We call them as a two-class sampling plan or three-class sampling plan. Three-class sampling plan is applied to the contaminants or the spoilage organisms or the saprophytes, what we said. And the two-class sampling plan or yes-no type of sampling plan that are applied to the pathogens that are otherwise given the chance would lead to the disease. Okay, so we have safety criterion, we have hygiene criterion. All these parameters related to the hygiene criterion are indicator organisms. Okay, they are invariably the organisms. Otherwise, they would lead to the spoilage, contaminants. Okay, two-class sampling plane are potentially pathogenic. Okay, pathogenic organisms. We'll discuss them later on. Okay, what kind of sample need to be collected? Okay, sample size. Okay, either the product is in the form of a liquid ml or in the form of in the solid gram. So invariably we collect liquid or the solid milk or milk products. And this sample, when it has to be submitted to the laboratory, what kind of storage condition has to be followed? Is it ambient storage or is it refrigeration? What is that? That needs to be followed, has been specified by FSA. Now you come to the last column, okay, last section of this table. There is NCMM. These criteria, they are associated with the sampling plan. And as I told you, there are two kinds of sampling, 2-class and 3-class. This particular standard plate count is a safety indicator. It is indicator with respect to the spoilage. Okay, it is a 3-class sampling plan. So we have got NCMM as attributes. What does this small n means? Number of sample units to be collected. Say for example, there is a truckload of pasteurized milk. Okay, among all of them, you collect 5 units randomly. Okay, 5 units, 5 packets, for example. 5 packets you select randomly, or you select 5 crates randomly. Okay, from each one you collect one pasteurized milk sample, one packet for analysis. Then, what is the microbiological specification that has been given to this? Preferably, if all these 5 samples are having count less than 30,000 colony forming units per gram or per ml, fine, excellent, no issue. Okay, it is compliance only. Okay, this particular pasteurized milk is complying with the specification given by FSSAI. Okay, then, but it won't be always like that. You have collected 5 samples, all the counts are less than 30,000, excellent. But this time, what has happened? Instead of 30,000, I got 31,000, 1,000 extra organisms. Whether you are going to reject the entire lot of that particular container or truck, the question is, FSSAI allows 2 samples to be more than 30,000. 2 samples out of 5 samples you have collected, 2 samples they will permit. Okay, 2 samples, whether they can have any load of microorganism? No. This is what is the maximum ceiling, capital M. Okay, they can be 2 samples can violate, okay, 30,000, can have the load more than 30,000, but in no case any sample, okay, they can be 50,000. So this is the maximum allowable microbiological limit, capital M. Okay, and small m is the entity that differentiates between acceptable. Anything which is less than small m is acceptable or marginally acceptable. Okay, marginally acceptable means how much margin? That's what is C determines. 2 samples out of 5 can have the count of 50,000 per gram. Okay, what does it mean? It means that 5 samples you have collected. There can be a chance that all the 5 are less than 30,000. Fine, excellent. There can be a chance that one sample is having more than 30,000. Even if that sample itself is having higher than 50,000 count, means reject the whole lot. Even if a single sample is valid. Okay, more than 50,000. No, that's not the case. All the samples are below capital M, 50,000, not an issue. So how many are between 30,000 and 50,000? 2 samples are there between 30,000 and 50,000. Permitted. Okay, is it clear? So this is what we call it as NCMM, 3-class sample plan for spoilage organisms in the milk. These are hygiene indicators. Okay. Likewise for UHT, C is equal to 0. C is equal to 0 means not even a single sample should have any count. You have collected 5 samples. Even if a single sample is having one coliform unit, reject. There is breach in the processing of the UHT milk. That's why. See the stringency here. The standard plate count or the total plate count indicates the contamination that occurs during the processing. So likewise, you can see here for different 11 different categories of these milk products, there is specification. Come to coliform count. Again, this coliform count is again a 3-class sampling plan. So for these 11 categories of samples, you have to collect 100 ml or 100 gram of sample, and you have to transport it under frozen condition, chilled condition, except for this one, ice cream, which is frozen, rest ice cream and pasteurized butter, rest all are chilled conditions. Dried dairy products for few hours of transport, you can transport at room temperature. Okay, and you come to this pasteurized butter. You have to collect 5 samples out of the lot. Okay. All the samples would have coliform count less than 10, preferably. 2 samples are permitted to have count between 10 and 50. Okay, not even a single sample should be 51. Otherwise, whole lot has to be collected, rejected. So likewise, these are the specifications. You can browse through the website of FSSA to get these things. Escherichia coli. You come to Escherichia coli here, there is no capital M at all. Because whether it is a capital M or a small m, it is same only. Only yes, no. E. coli should not be there. If E. coli is there, that is going to produce the diarrheal disease in the human. That's why E. coli should not be there. 5 samples you collect. In all the samples, there should be 0 count per gram. Or if it is a paneer, chana or koya, less than 10 per gram. Or even cheese also. Otherwise, all these samples should not have any E. coli. Okay, that's what is the specification. Even if a single sample violates this, the whole lot has to be rejected. So that is the requirement. Salmonella, as we all know that salmonella is a pathogen. You see here, you compare between salmonella and E. coli. In case of E. coli, it was per gram. And now you see, in case of salmonella, it is 25. You have to demonstrate absence of salmonella in 25 grams of the sample. But you have collected from the field, from the factory, 100 gram or 100 ml of the sample. But you have mixed it properly and you have taken 25 gram of that and you processed following the suitable method. What is that suitable method? We discuss in the practical. And the salmonella count should be 0. Not even a single sample should yield at least 1 bacteria. Even if 1 salmonella bacteria is detected, reject the whole lot. That is the specification with respect to salmonella. Staphylococcus aureus. There are various kinds of Staphylococcus species, coagulase positive, coagulase negative. These are all the Staphylococci that occur in the food. But our Indian standard, FSSI standard, it speaks about only coagulase positive Staphylococci because they are associated with the virulence, toxigenic potential. That is why. The type of the sampling plan that is applied, Staphylococcus is both a safety indicator as well as quality indicator. Quality in the sense it is an indicator also with respect to hygiene. And second, it is given the chance it's going to produce that disease. That's why you are getting a mixed response here. So majority of the samples, 5 samples you collect, 11 categories of milk and milk products, and there should, if all the samples are having less than 10, 50 or 100, that's excellent. If any sample is exceeding, depending on the type of the category of the milk product, that has to be rejected. Yeast and mold as a hygiene indicator. Okay. At times, in addition to the bacteria, certain yeast and mold also grow in the milk and milk products. Again, I say same sampling plan has to be applied as we use it for standard plate count or aerobic plate count. Aerobic spore count. Okay, at times what happens, the product has undergone some treatment. The vegetative bacteria have been killed or have died. Under such circumstances, instead of going for actual vegetative organism count, we'll go for the spore count. And spore of what? Spore of Bacillus cereus. Bacillus cereus is the potential foodborne pathogen. It forms the spore. It is taken as an indicator. Okay, and these are the specifications. Okay, C is there means it is 3 classes. Come to the Clostridium perfringens. This Clostridium is a known pathogen. Okay, that's why that should be absent in the majority of the food products. The Clostridium perfringens should be absent. Listeria monocytogenes. Listeria monocytogenes should be absent either in 1 gram or 25 grams of the sample, preferably 25 grams. 25 grams of the sample, it should be negative because it is a established pathogen. So likewise, in India, the Food Safety and Standards Authority, okay, and Food Safety and Standards Act 2006, which is operational in India since 2011, all these specifications have been given, and any food product for that matter, or the milk or milk product that we discussed, have to meet these requirements. Otherwise, there is a penalty or punishment depending on the type of the damage that it is milk product caused in the public or the consumers. Likewise, in other countries also. Take for example European Union. European Union is union of many countries. Okay, we call some countries as Schengen countries also. All these countries, they have a common code of practice with respect to hygiene and sanitation, with respect to the product conformance specifications. So they all apply FSMS, HACCP-based principles, and in Europe there are various directives in the European Union. There is European Economic Council, and the directives of this EC, they are applicable in all major member countries, so they are there. So let us not go into details of these individual regulations or directives. They have both specifications for microbial and non-microbial potential hazards that could be there in the milk or the milk product. Then let us discuss about the one of the process that is used raw milk is the pasteurization. Pasteurization is a process subjecting the milk to such a time temperature combination that inactivates or kills the most heat resistant pathogen. Earlier, Mycobacterium tuberculosis was considered as the most heat resistant pathogen. Pathogen, underline what I'm saying, pathogen. Okay. Of late, they found that Coxiella burnetii, the agent of Q fever, is still more resistant to the heat compared to the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Then they replaced Mycobacterium tuberculosis with Coxiella burnetii. And today, the pasteurization temperature is above, okay, the temperature of killing of inactivation of the Coxiella burnetii and its time combination. Higher is the temperature, lower is the time, and vice versa. So in USA, 63 degrees centigrade or 145 Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. It is for routine milk. If the milk or milk product is having bit fat content, okay, or some additives are added into the milk, then we increase the temperature by another 3 degrees. European Union 71.7 degrees centigrade for 15 seconds. They do not have this low temperature long time. Okay, they recommend high temperature short time only, and nowadays it is all high temperature short time only. HTST type of pasteurization. In Australia, 72 degrees centigrade for 15 seconds. Likewise, the milk used for the preparation of the products. You know that various kinds of milk products are manufactured using the milk, and these are all the specifications that have been specified in Australia and in the European Union. What is the intended use of that particular milk? Accordingly, the temperature time combinations have been given. You subject that milk into the This time temperature combination first, and then you subject it to the further product preparation. For ultra high heat treated milk, in the United States, USA, 140 to 150 degrees centigrade for a few seconds, and in the European Union, more than 135 degrees centigrade for 1 second. This is the specification for ultra pasteurization of the milk. Okay, in USA, they use 138 degrees centigrade for 2 seconds. Thermized milk, the milk that has been subjected for thermal processing, so 57 to 68 degrees centigrade for more than 15 seconds. Then one more important criteria that I must mention here is somatic cell count in different countries. The somatic cell count is, you know that whenever there is udder infection, inflammation, because of the invasion of the microorganisms, there is elevation of the milk leukocytes and also the epithelial cells and some of the cells that are excoriated from the udder. Okay, all of these cells together we call them as somatic cells, predominantly leukocytes. And why their number increases in the milk? Consequent to the infection in the udder that has resulted in the form of inflammation. And inflammation of the udder, you call it as a mastitis. Whether it is a clinical mastitis when there are evident changes in the milk or the udder, or is invisible subclinical mastitis, no manifestations with respect to the cow or the udder or the milk changes. Okay, under such circumstances, we call the infection as subclinical infection or subclinical mastitis. Okay, whatever may be the clinical or subclinical mastitis, there is elevation of these somatic cell counts. This somatic cell count acts as the cow udder health indicator. That is why in America, USA, 7.5 lakh is the maximum ceiling limit for the milk, raw milk, 1 ml of raw milk. For goat, there is one more 3 lakh buffer, 10 lakh somatic cells per ml of milk that is permitted. In the European Union, depending on the type of the milk, there is a mentioning of the somatic cell counts. Okay, whether, say for example, raw milk for the production of the heat treated drinking milk, fermented milk or junket or jelly or flavored milk or the cream. So 4 lakh is the maximum. Okay, 4 or 5 lakh. 5 lakh is for raw buffalo milk and raw cow milk for the manufacture of other milk based products. So like this European Union Council directives, they all specify the somatic cell counts. Okay, in India it is 5 lakh. Okay, 2 lakh and above we take it as a mastitis. Okay, 5 lakh is the limit. Okay, so India is having better somatic cell counts compared to the USA or the other countries. See here. The indicator organisms in the sense we go for indicator in the sense they indicate the spoilage. Okay, so these are all spoilage organisms, hygiene indicators rather than indicator. Let you take it as a hygiene indicator organisms. In the USA, grade A milk should contain less than 1 standard plate count per ml. Okay, maximum is especially when the milk is commingled. So that's 3 lakh is the maximum. Otherwise, not. Likewise, for other kinds of products, they are specified. In European Union, the aerobic plate count 1 lakh as a maximum one. Okay. So for other kinds of milk, there is 4 lakh, 5 lakh, or 10 lakh, depending on the kind of milk. Okay, goat milk a bit higher. Then they also follow the ICMSF specifications as I discussed in FSSI specifications in India when it comes to the Arabic plate count. In the European Union, Okay, for pasteurized milk, they have specified the ICMS subsampling plan, 3-class sampling plan. 5 samples we collect from a lot or a production batch. Okay, ideal is all less than pasteurized milk. No? In India, it is 30,000. They have a bit higher, 50,000. Okay, maximum in India was 50,000. If you just recollect, they have given up to 5 lakh. But the thing is that whatever these indicator organisms, no, you may ask one basic question, sir, why they are having higher limits than India? It should have been better, that lower one. The thing is that there is very robust system to examine the cows for their health. All the animals are they are tested for brucellosis, for the tuberculosis and other chronic diseases, especially the diseases of public health significance. These animals are already, they are free. Okay, many of those diseases have been, such as PSC and all, have been already eradicated. Okay, when such is the surveillance and monitoring system, so they only look for these spoilest kinds of organisms. And if you see the Europe, the climate and all, even though the number is high, they will not flare up like India. Okay, because India being the tropical country, very early the milk spoils. That is why they have specified with higher limits. So it is not the compromisation of the standards leading to favoring of the spoilage in the product. So you should not take it like that. Okay. The indicator organisms, Enterobacteriaceae members. So invariably they go for the enterobacterial. They will take a broad medium which is specific to the enterobacteria. Again, the 3-class sampling plan. So 502, you can see small m 10,000, capital M 1 lakh, like that. So depending on the kind of the milk product. The coliform count in USA 10 as a maximum per ml. Okay. Grade A non-fat dry milk. You see the one more category of milk. I talked about India. India has better divided the products because we have higher dairy milk product diversity compared to the Europe or America, because we are all basically milk lovers, Indians. That is why you are finding fewer categories here in America or Europe. In India, 11 different categories I talked earlier. Then you come to the standard plate count as a safety, this hygiene indicator. So again, 3-class sampling plan of ICMSF and the critical limits have been given here. New Zealand, Australia are having better standards compared to other countries. You can see unpasteurized milk, the 3-class sampling plan. For E. coli also they were given 3-class. Okay, India E. coli has given 2-class plan. Okay, the psychrotrophs in different countries. Psychrotrophs are those organisms that are cold-loving organisms. 3-class sampling plan. Okay, except for the UHT or sterilized milk, which should be completely sterile. Rest all categories of milk, they have specified limits. The IDF also has given. IDF is worldwide standard. Okay, now it's IDF means International Dairy Federation. Likewise, we have got in India, India's dairy IDA, Indian Dairy Association. Okay, that's also there. So this federation, again, it is a not-for-profit organization, just like SMSF or the ISO. It is operational across the world, and it has specified mesophile and coliforms as 3-class sampling plan, and salmonella as 2-class sampling plan. And you see the N is equal to 15. 15 lots we have to collect from a container or a batch, and of which the count should be 0 in any one of them. So invariably, when we talk about the salmonella, whether it is a national or international level, so we recommend either 20 options in the 25 grams or 50 grams of the sample. 50 is better. Okay, 15 is 25 grams. For casein and caseinate products, okay. So in European community, they go for total bacterial count, thermophilic count, coliform count, just like ICMS of world idea of worldwide what we talked just now. So the count should be less than 30,000. Saudi Arabia also, don't see the numbers here because this is only to indicate you. It looks in terms of camel milk. No? Saudi Arabia we have camel, otherwise rest all milk is imported. So total aerobic count, psychotropic count, aerobic mesophiles, Enterobacteriaceae, Staphylococcus aureus, and some yeast and mold they look for. Now, milk payment I was talking in the beginning. Okay, the International Dairy Federation, again I told you it is a not-for-profit organization. Especially the member states in the sense member countries. Okay, it has given certain specifications. Price adjustment on cell count. Okay, is there based on the cell count whether there is a price adjustment or not. Okay, except for Czechoslovakia, Hungary, and Japan, rest all member states, means majority of these states, they all have price adjustment based on certain cutoff cell count value. Okay, higher is the count, they will go for the reduction of the price by what? By 10%. Okay, you can see maximum. Australia is very stringent. Okay, and how many hertz? Okay, at some places it is some hertz and otherwise rest all hertz. And what is that criterion? Cell count criterion. You see, in Australia, suppose I am an Australian dairy farmer. I am supplying a milk. Okay, all the milk should have the somatic cell. This cell count less than 10 lakh. Okay, if it is less than 10 lakh, well, it's fine, not an issue. Okay, so you will get a full price. If the cell count goes beyond 10 lakh, what they will do? They will reduce the price by 10%. The milk price gets reduced. Here in India, no such system is existing. Okay, whatever may be the cell count, the milk is paid based on the fat and SNF content, mostly fat. Okay, and how many counts are made and meaned in this? They take samples, 3 samples randomly, and they take the mean. If the mean is less than 10 lakh per ml, well and good. If it is not good, you cut the price by 10%. Okay, no warnings are issued. You cannot say that no, sorry, this time some mistake was there, next time I will do. No warnings. Number of warnings means number of warnings in this case 0 means no warnings. In Austria, you see, Austria is having still better system. It is not 10 lakh, it is 3.5 lakh. Cells are counted. Okay, after counting the cell, how to count the cells and all will teach you in detail in laboratory at this point of time. You just take the cell count. Okay, 3.5 lakh cell count per ml of the milk. If all the supplies are less than 3.5 per ml, well, good. Okay, you will get full payment. If any sample that exceeds 3.5 lakh, okay, any count, they will give warning for 1 time. You have made mistake again, okay, then they will give warning for 1 more time. You are not listening, then they will cut your price by minus 1.5%. Means instead of 10 rupees, so 1.5% means sorry, not 10. You can do it at percentage. Okay, out of percentage means out of 100, instead of 100 rupees, you will get less 1.5. Okay, that much amount you will get. Just to explain. Okay, so likewise you can see at various different countries, different penalty measures have been imposed. Some countries have got warning systems, while majority of the countries are not having warning systems. Okay, it means always you should see that your cell count per ml won't exceed this. Likewise, the idea of recommendations for somatic cell counts in different countries. Okay, some more countries. You can see it. Okay. Then this is the mastitis control measure. You know that mastitis intramammary infection. Whenever there is inflammation of the udder, the cell count increases and the microbial count also increases. That is going to have negative effect on the product shelf life and also the quality of the product. If the animal is suffering from disease, then there can be transmission of the agent leading to the public health, compromising of the public. That's why A to K, these ligands I have explained at the end. Okay, next slide. So these A to K are different parameters as a mastitis control measures that have been implemented in these countries. Okay, even though India is the largest milk producer, unfortunately we do not have all these strict measures to manage the mastitis. Okay, to manage the mastitis. More plus means more better it is. You just look for which is the country that's having more pluses. I think it is Spain. Spain, you see almost all plus, except for one parameter which has not been studied by this particular group from which I have taken this. Okay, so next is this, I think Canada. This is also good, Austria. Okay, so like this, these are all the countries that are having all these mastitis control measures. You see this also, USA is also having the better or robust plus. What are these A to K? You see, A means advice on for management and house. You go, if at all there is mastitis, okay, what the advice that is given to the farmers. B, milking machine testing and maintenance. How is the milking machine? How it is maintained and all. C, teat washing before milking, whether they are washing the teat before milking or not. Teat disinfection before milking. Teat disinfection after milking. Dry cow therapy. Treatment of clinical cases. Culling of the chronic cases. Cell counting. Routine bacteriological examination of the cows and other parameters such as guidelines for machine milking, CMT testing, feeding advice. Okay, so milking management and checking milk for residues and bacterial count. So all these are the parameters that are tested from A to K in different Western countries, so that even if a single case of mastitis is there, such milk will not enter the milk supply chain, thereby affecting the larger quantity of the milk. So like this, the milk hygiene practices that are milk production practices and hygiene practices that are applied in different countries across the globe. So this is all about the discussion.